Well, the idea was to drive the brand new Aston Martin to Los Angeles where I was going to record. And I thought, well, the best time to drive that would be late at night. I told my wife I'm going to drive in at about 11 o'clock at night and I'll avoid all the traffic and I can let the car out a little bit out in the desert and see what it'll do. So I got about as far as um, just before Blythe, and I was still in Arizona. And I just happened to notice something out of the corner of my eye. And I looked up on the left, and it was the same thing that everybody saw in 1997 on the left, and it was moving. I would say that was probably southwest. It was moving southwest, and there was no noise at all. And I watched it and watched it, and I stopped the car in the middle of the desert. I called my wife and I said, Cheryl, I said, I'm looking at the Phoenix lights right now. I said, and it's moving out very, very, like I said, the oddest thing being out in the desert. And I told her, I said, this is really weird. I said, I'm out here all alone and I'm watching. And then I went, wait a minute, I'm out here all alone. That's not a good idea, if that's what I think it is. And it was the V. And it moved and moved. I watched it for 10 minutes. And it just kept getting further and further and further. I guess it must have been going towards San Diego. That's where that would probably be. But I just watched it disappear. I mean, it just kept going and going and going. But it was exactly the same thing. It was sort of an amber kind of like soft lights on the thing. It wasn't really a bright white. It was sort of a dull amber kind of lights. And I thought, how weird is that? I mean, that was 3 years ago that the Phoenix lights. And I wasn't expecting that at all. You expect to see shooting stars. You expect to see, maybe a satellite or something and way out in the desert like that. But this was absolutely the exact same ship. So apparently they were KISS fans. They didn't abduct me.